if you've spent your entire life taking care of other people, your kids, your family, your marriage, your career, and then one day you wake up and you realize, I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't know what I like to do or who I want to spend time with. Well, you're definitely not alone, and I understand because the same thing happened to me. After I was divorced, I realized I didn't even have a support system of women that I could turn to during that difficult time in my life. And so that was the beginning of the journey to rediscovering myself. And I invite you on this journey with me so that you can rediscover yourself as well. It's never too late to ask, who am I? What do I like to do? And who do I want to spend my time with? Hi, my name is Julie Marvel, and I'm the founder of the Fabulous Ladies. And we're a women's organization that builds positive community and friendship among women. Let's go on this journey together to rediscover you. You know, back before I was the founder of the Fabulous Ladies, I was in a very long, difficult marriage. And when that marriage ended, I really, spent the summer crying. And then at the end of that summer, I looked around and I said, I've got to make a change. It was a transitional period for me, and I just realized that I needed to go out really and make some friends. I had a deep sense of loneliness. I knew my life was in transition and changing, and so I was going to do something about it. And so what I did was I started a little lunch group on Meetup. I just sort of put it out there, took a risk, and women started to show up. We met for lunch once a week on a weekday at noon at different restaurants around town, and the organization grew into something that I realized was changing my life, because each time I walked into a lunch, whether there was 4 women or 10 women, I knew that I was going to feel better when I walked out the door. That connection, that meaning and purpose and laughter and connection with women who you felt like you were in the same stage of life with. It was very meaningful and very important. And I did this for a couple of years. And after that, I started to have women volunteer to help host other events. And eventually, they started to give me feedback on how this was transforming their lives. They were volunteering to host events. And so it really has, over time, grown into a movement. And loneliness, especially for women over the age of 40, is such a common, unique theme that I have learned over the years. And oftentimes, the women that we serve are women in different kinds of transition. So sometimes it's divorce, sometimes they're widowed, sometimes they're recently empty nesters, maybe they're recently retired or just moved to a new area, or maybe they just finished taking care of a loved one or a parent, and now they have a little extra time, maybe a little extra money on their hands, and they just need someone to share their life with. When we're in our 40s, 50s, and 60s, life isn't coming to a close. We're more interesting, we're more experienced, we have a little more time on our hands. We're really just looking for other women to share that time of our lives with. And so this is where I encourage you to reach out into your community and find different ways for you to connect. Because what happens when you connect with other women is that there's all kinds of interesting things that you learn about each other because of the long history we have of raising our children, having extensive careers. We've learned a lot, we've read a lot of books, we've known a lot of people, maybe we've lived in different places all around the world or traveled. And there's just so much to share, and there's so much more in common with each other than we are different. And so it's just such a joyful experience when we can connect with other women in a safe and wonderfully positive environment. So my challenge to you is to kind of shift from being that mother role or being that career woman or being a wife or a caretaker, and really start to think about, who are you and how do you want to spend your time? And it is your time to really choose what you want to do with your free time. You might be in a rut, or you might be in a routine that can feel monotonous, it can feel boring, it can feel very repetitive. But when you start to really look around and implement some positive changes in your life, you can prepare yourself for connecting with other women. So, one of the things that I encourage people to do, because this is something that helped me, was doing some journaling, getting quiet, doing some walking, doing some meditation. Those are all things that kind of set the stage for you to shift into a new phase of life. And I would also encourage you to reach out to somebody that you know and invite them to lunch, or invite them to dinner, or invite them to go for a walk with you, because they most likely feel the exact same way that you do. And when the kids are young or the career is busy, we just really are caught up in that. And we feel like, oh, they don't have time, they don't have time, they don't have time. But what happens is, when we get a little older and life slows down a little bit, and you invite someone to do something, you realize that they do have the time, that they're starting to have more time in their hands, and they're so grateful for the invitation. And maybe they can't make it that first time, but try again, or find a different date where you guys can get together. I remember early on when I was running this organization, when it was just getting started, and I had created a small circle of women around me. And I called a restaurant and I made a reservation for 6, and I didn't have anyone that I had invited yet. I just made this reservation. I said, I'm going to find five other women to have dinner with me. And I just started messaging and calling different people that had been at my lunches. And I had 6 women for dinner that night. And it was just such a cool experience. And we were all from different walks of life. And we laughed and we had such a great time. But it took a little bravery on my part to just make the reservation without knowing who I was going to invite. And then sort of putting some effort into it. It was sort of like a goal that I was trying to achieve on scheduling that dinner. So what I would put back on you is for you to think about what lights you up. What are some things that maybe you did before you were so busy? What are some things that you've been wanting to try that might be new to you? So maybe you want to go kayaking, or maybe you want to go hiking, or maybe you're just wanting to try a new restaurant in town. So think about a plan for what you can do to take one step forward. And then I want you to think about who in your life that you are drawn to. It's a little bit of a chemistry. We meet a lot of people throughout our days and weeks and months and years, but it's not often that we meet someone that draws us in. They have that smile, you feel that connection with them. And so that's who I want you to think about. And I want you to put yourself out there and give it a try. And let me know if it works out for you, because it can transform your life and it can transform the other woman's life. And you may not even know that that is going to happen. So you're not too late. You're right on time. Our 40s, our 50s, our 60s is right where it starts to get interesting and fun. And I encourage you to take that next step. So let me know what happens. Thank you so much for chiming in. My name is Julie Marvel. I'm the founder and CEO of the Fabulous Ladies, and I have a huge passion for bringing women together and building positive community through friendship and in-person connection. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for watching this video. You can download the loneliness checklist below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, or head on over to our website, fabulousladies.vip. See you soon.